Oh, okay, we're live again. Woo! So this time I'll talk about it. So, hello everybody. We're back again. We just finished and wrapped up cosmic forecast, and now we're coming in to do Illuminated Archetype. And the Illuminated Archetype series is where we take some charts, like some real life chart examples, and we look at, right now we're in transit 17, the archetype of the discoverer from our 64 Doors website. And we look in people's charts, see where the 17 lies, and then kind of paint a story of maybe how this archetype is expressed in their lives. So it's like mini chart readings, basically. So what we do is we go in our groups, in different groups, and we ask, do you have the 17? Next week, or in a couple days, it'll be the 21. So we'll ask people, do you have the 21 in your chart? And people will post their chart with the lines, and we'll be able to save them. And then when we come on to do these Saturday nights or whenever, we will be able to pull your chart up and read it. So I wanted to let you guys know, like, we have a lot going on, like a lot. We come live and we do a bunch of different series. So I wanted to make sure that we were clear about the different things that we're doing, because they're all under the same umbrella. Unlock Your Design just has a lot of different series, because we want to come and give you a plethora of different things to kind of wet your mouth with all of these Gene Keys and human design stuff. We want you to be able to experience them in different unique ways, because it might resonate when we do chart readings. It might resonate when you're able to hear real life examples from the guardians, or whatever. So the different things that we do series on is, again, this one, which is Illuminated Archetype series, which is chart readings. We also do the cosmic forecast, which is just talking about what's in transit right now, how is this energy showing up, kind of more letting you know what's the game that's being played right now. Like we were saying on the live, it's what's activated by the planets, what program is running for you to take part in. Mm-hmm. And when you have awareness of it, you can be mindful of it, and then maybe choose different decisions and taste different frequencies. Is there anything else you want to add about the cosmic forecast, Bella, or Illuminated Archetype before I move on to the other things?
No.
Okay. And then we also do guardian interviews, and those are our the ones from the 64 Doors. So we usually will interview one person who has that archetype in their chart. So today, man, we've done a lot of lives today. Today we interviewed Benjamin. And Benjamin had the 17 in his purpose sphere. And so we were talking to him what it was like to have the 17 in his design. And then we wove in a bunch of different things too. So it's it's not just about the 17. We kind of go in different places and connect the dots. We also do soul conversations, and that is Bella and Simone. They get on a call together, and Simone taps into the soul of, like, the archetype. Did you want to kind of explain it? Because you're the one who kind of does the interview with Simone, or the conversation.
Is one of these things I feel like it has to be experienced. You kind of have to listen, because if somebody would have told me before we started doing it, I would be like, that sounds interesting, but I don't get it. Right. So it's absolutely one of these things where, also what you were saying this week in our membership group, Ashley, that anybody can actually take in the energy of the gates. But here, I mean, obviously Simone is like a pro and she's a channel, but it's something that we can all tap into. So that's also why I feel like to watch this is an inspiration for how you can also allow, especially now with the 61 in all the activations that it is. It's like so much an invitation for us to tap into that great mystery and to become channels for bigger things in our own lives.
Yes, exactly. Sorry, I was just sharing this in other places because
maybe we can just mention too. We're speaking with Tim this week, and he launched something called the Body Keys. So now we have been bridging human design and the Gene Keys, and this new thing came out into our aura, and we had our first call with him, and we just realized how many things that are weaving into what we already do, and so much what we are about. Like, why are we doing all this series? Because we don't really care about theory. We are all about, like, what is this in your daily life? How can you play with the archetypes? How can you embody the archetypes? How can you become a living example of these teachings? Because if you're just like somebody that's going to speak about it on a theoretical level, like, what value does it have? So that's why we are like playing with them. It's like there are so many different ways that we can apply it, and that's the only thing that is really, you know, valuable.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Okay, so why don't let's dive into it. I shared it in a couple of the groups that we're in, and we can just dive into this. Actually, you know what? Is there anything else that you want to mention? Because I definitely want to share it in the deep dive group with Richard.
Yeah.
Pulled some people from there, so I want to make sure that they're able to see it. Oh, we have so much things that we have to go over. So can you actually talk to them about the lines and why it's important for us to include the lines in the profile, and then we can show them how to do it, just so that
So we saw that many of you that were posting your profiles were posting just so that you can see the gene key in each sphere. And really, the deeper layers of the gene keys and the golden path, like when you learn to weave your own profile, the main thing is the lines. It's actually not the keys. So that's why it's so important for us, because also what we are asking you when we are posting this is do you have this in your activation sequence? So most of the charts that we're going to look at today are going to have 17 in one of the green spheres, but it's still going to be very different because it's in different lines. So some are going to have line 1 and line 3, some are going to have line 2 and line 4. So the lines are super, super important. It tells us like the tone, the personality that you're going to leave that gene key in. So that's why when you make the chart on the Gene Key website, you want to make sure that you go to the side where it says advanced or like a little plus, and then you can click that you want to have the lines, you want to have the gene keys, you want to have the pathways, you want to have all the shadow, the gifts in the city. You just cross in everything so that you get the full profile, because then you have, just by looking at your own profile, you have a lot of information right away. And so that's what we want you to do, so that when we see the whole profile with everything on it, it just like kind of talks to us. So that's the best way of posting it, with all the data that you can have in there.
Yeah, and we're actually going to show you how to do that, because I know that it was kind of confusing for some of you. So I just shared it in the deep dive group right now. So now I'm going to screen share and I'll show you guys how to do that. All right, hold on. Let me do that. So you're just going to want to go to the actual...
It's not shared yet, I can see it.
Oh, I haven't shared it yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just getting it up. You're going to want to actually go to the Gene Key website. And so here is... Oh, technical difficulties. Hold on. I need to disconnect it from StreamYard. Sorry, everybody. Here we go. Perfect. There we go. So you're going to want to go to the Gene Key website, and the way that you access the chart is you're just going to go to free profile. Click on that. And then we'll just do mine. There's my email. So I was born in San Diego. And you're going to want to, for the hours, it's kind of in the 24-hour format. And so you're going to need to figure that out. 87. So I was born at 3:01. Now you guys know my birth info and where I live, or where I was born. Come stalk me. Okay, perfect. So when you come down here, automatically the way that it auto-populates is without the lines, which I feel like it should have the lines. And I know for simplicity purposes, like, okay, here's the gene key, but there's so much information in the lines. So what we're going to want to do is you're going to come over here and you're going to turn the lines on. Super easy, right? I also turn on the city and the shadow because I want all that stuff. Oh, excuse me.
And I like the pathways too, but sometimes you have to click and it things you have to re-click it again. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're going to do the pathways, then do the pathways first and then click on everything else. So, I mean, that's with everything. And if you don't want to be overloaded with everything, you can just do that. So that's kind of what we need, is we need the lines. And that's how you do it. Super simple. And then you're going to want to go to download profile and PDF. If you guys are, the only way you can share your profile in Facebook when we're asking you to do this is you're going to want to do a screenshot, or you're going to want to save it as a PNG or a JPEG. The way that you do a screenshot on Mac, and obviously, I mean, some of you already know this, but there's some people that aren't as tech savvy. If you have a Mac, you're going to do Command-Shift-4, and then you're going to just highlight it. Takes a picture. There you go. Then you post it. And that's it. So now you guys can post it. Super easy. Super awesome. I would love to know if somebody watching right now, if you have the 17 in your profile. Do you have it? And tell us where you have it. And I guess we're going to jump in right now. We've already spent 10 minutes talking. Jeez. Oops, let's take this down. Now I'm going to pull up all your guys' charts and we're going to dive into them. I don't know how many we're going to be able to get to.
Should I write down the names we can tag the people, or what do you feel? Do I do that at the same time?
I guess, I mean, I have their first names.
Okay.
And I think, yeah, I saved them as their first name. So here's a chart. So we're looking at Lynn right now. And she did like just what I did, is a screenshot. So this is Lynn, and Lynn has 17 in her life's work, and she has it in her IQ. So she has it 2 places. So we'll kind of dive into that. Bella, did you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'm making it a little bigger. I don't know if I'm getting old or if I spend too many hours in front of the computer.
I can make it bigger too.
No, it's perfect. I can see it now. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so it's in 2 places. It's in the life's work and in the IQ. So that's so it's kind of in. I feel like it's kind of in the mind. It's like it's a primary thing that actually it's a primary energy in your life. The 17, and you are a 5-1. So I would say there is like a mental, like the mental plane is important for you. And I can also see the confusion, for example, in the EQ. So what does this mean? This activation sequence, the 17, the 18, the 38, and the 39, in the conscious side, it is a lot about being able to have that farsightedness, being able to walk in integrity, and from there, when you can walk that path and also be vulnerable about what you aren't, that's when you're going to be able to break through and find your true purpose and find the battles that are worth fighting. So when you are a 5-1, the most important thing is that you are a strong voice, but you're also admitting where you're vulnerable, because otherwise that could create a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of conflict in your life, and it would be judgment and opinion that could be projected back onto you, and then your whole life can kind of fall into a struggle and provocation, because the radiance and the purpose sphere are going to kind of fight back on you when you are pretending that you're never have any weakness in the life's work and in the evolution. So that's very important. And here you can also see that in the Venus sequence, what would happen? Well, probably in your relationships, there would be impatience, there would be not really a fertile soil to plant in if you are becoming this person who doesn't show your vulnerability. And even in the vocation sphere, which is the core wound before it becomes the vocation, there could be conflict and denial and projection. So really, I would say that the main challenge, like we say, when you are a 5-1 profile, it's to break out of misunderstanding using your vulnerability as strength. So that way, I would say that's the number one thing to do if you want to start to unlock this specific activation sequence as a 5-1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can kind of see what can be woven with when you hold on to your opinions as if they define you and define your identity. What's going to happen is you're going to see yourself feeling conflict when somebody else is going to come against that opinion that you have, and you'll find yourself defending it or trying to convert the other person to it, and then you'll dislocate from them. Like you're going to separate and be like, oh, nope, we can't work together. And I feel like the eight also is very unique too. Like they're trailblazers. So I'm sure that your ideas or your opinions are pretty unique as well. So you have to just know, like Bella said, how do you pick your battles, right? And I mean, man, you have the 5 in both your SQ and your attraction. So the patience is there. I can see how the biofeedback loop would happen between your IQ and your EQ. Like if you're triggered by somebody that says they don't agree with you, don't agree with your opinion, you're going to not share anything else with them. You're gonna be like, oh, all right, fine, and then give them that silent treatment, or like self-sabotage yourself. Because when you don't have a healthy self-esteem, that means, okay, my opinions are not me. I don't identify or define myself with those opinions. Then you're not going to feel that fragmented self-worth. You're not going to feel like, oh, my opinions mean something about me, and then you'll also feel confused about how you're feeling as well. So that's kind of what I'm seeing in the chart in weaving the other places together.
And I would say it's so important to come back to the body and the rhythm, the natural rhythm of the body, and even using now the North Node that is activated in the 15. So using that energy of those natural rhythms that connect your sacral center with the G center through the 5-15, and that's where that's the middle pillar. That's where your core is. So you want to ground in dynamism in that first line. You ground in who you really are. Again, the style that Ashley was speaking about. You come into your body and you feel the rhythms are there, and then you want to in the pearl, simplify to actually go down to the core of your unique style, and that's what you're here to spontaneously share with the world. And then you are going to be somebody who has the big picture and who can find solutions to things that other people don't see, but it comes from you being grounded in the first line purpose, and also in your body and your rhythm in the SQ and attraction.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of first lines in here as well. That'll be the last thing that we mention is there's a lot of creative genius that comes out of the 39 as well, and it's 39.1, which is also that creator energy. And that's why Bella was saying, like, doing the analogy of the soil and are the relationships fertile here. So you're really going to want to look at like what's nurturing you and getting that bird's eye picture from the 17 of your garden that's planted, and like, what are you creating in here? What seeds are you planting in here? How are you uniquely creating that garden for yourself and for others? And can you garden together or do you feel like you have to do it all yourself? So that's the last thing that I'll add to that. Is there anything else you want to add to this profile before we move on?
No, I think that's a really good overview.
Awesome. So this is Monica, and Monica has 17.6. She's a 4-6, and she has 17.6. It's a little bit blurry, but 17.6 in her radiant sphere. So the 6th line of nurture.
I remember this profile. I feel like we have both looked at it. And
I think that this is our Monica.
This is our Monica.
Oh, you're like, I remember this profile. This is
that 38 too. That kind of like knocks with me somehow. I don't know. Like,
yes, awesome.
Well, we don't have the same. Yeah, it's not exactly the same activation sequence. So here we have it on the other side in the radiance and in the purpose. So basically, here the genius is in the body, and even the role modeling is in the body. So I would say, this is the body of the future, and the body of the future is all about integrity and kind of the higher perspective, like the farsightedness. So it's not like it's okay maybe today to, it's okay. It's not so much detail like the body. This is nurturing in the 6th line. So it's how you nurture it, but in the big picture. So I would say with the 17 and the 18 in the radiance, it's not managed by detail. It's actually the farsightedness of what integrity is and what that means to live in a body of integrity. And it comes very much from looking on the other, if you go like from that unconscious side and we go back to the life's work and evolution, we can see that on the outside is going to be, do you have enough stillness? Do you have, like, are you caring about your own vitality? Are you choosing the community and the people that are around you that are nurturing, again, that vitality? Because that is so important. Can you do what you love? Do you have are you choosing vitality in your life? Do you have enough stillness so that your body can be that role model that is nurturing, and also that showing the way for what it is to be a 6th line body, which is what we're going into. So I feel this is I have never done the chart reading like this. But there's something, because Monica knows a lot about her charts. It's like I kind of want to look at it a little bit from the opposite way. And I think this has to do too with what we're doing with Tim and with Simone. We really look at the purpose and the radiance, and to see that line is like it has so much genius in it, and it's your soul. It's a line of your soul that is here to express itself, and that has an inherent intelligence about your whole profile when you respect that, and it's going to have a big impact in how you feel in your life, how your body feels, how big your aura can be. So having the 17 there, it's all about it's nurturing and not focusing on the details that can make you lose the big picture, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. I like the thing that's resounding the most for me is the body of the future. And I see that we have that 6th line. It's the only 6th line. And so it's a little bit harder to be a body and a soul of the future, and then bringing it here with so many. I mean, she's the 2nd line in her vocation, the 1st line in her culture, and in her SQ. So there's a lot of faculties here that are here in the present and in the naturalness, but like, how can you weave everything together? Because that body is wanting to thrive in the now, but it's like showing everybody what the soul of the future has to bring, and what is it wanting to share. And I love what Ben said today about needing to be invited to share the opinion. So that's like also what's correct for your body, is when you're putting energy towards like that invitation, or like, what do you think about this? Let's hear your opinion on this. It's going to make you feel alive, and it's going to help you light up, right? But you have to have that invitation to share that, because opinions are a little bit tricky there, right? Like,
right.
And she has the whole channel, the 58 and the 18. So it can be really nitpicky too. So if we keep like nitpicky, like all she's concerned with is how can we get humanity to the future? And so she's going to pick out the things that are like, this needs to go. This needs to go. We need to put this in. So she's like saying, like, here's the recipe. Let's follow the recipe. No, we don't need that. No, we don't need this. And this is what we're needing to feed ourselves right now to move us towards that body of the future. This is what the body of the future needs. This is what the soul of the future needs. And so she's also being that example. Her being is the example, right?
Yeah.
Monica. All right, let's move to the next. So this one is Mandy. And she has it in her radiance as well. She's the 10, the 15, the 18, and the 17, and she's a 6-2 profile.
So interesting. These are 3 different crosses. When we did this last week, it was basically the same cross of the Vessel of Love, I think, but in different constellation. Now we have 3 crosses in the 3 profiles.
Well, we also posted in a couple different groups, so I feel like the admin of each group is going to attract certain profiles into the group, and so we have kind of more of a more variety.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see.
Yeah, 6-2 in general, right? It is a role model, and it's also the hermit. So it's somebody who's here to be very specific about who you dance with, who are your relationships, who are the people that you want to merge with, and not compromise, not only with the people, but also not with the situations and the environments. That is the most important thing for the 6-2, to not compromise, breaking out of compromise by believing in the big dream, that whatever you know is possible, and then you draw to you the right people to dance that reality with you. That's the kind of overarching theme of the 6th line.
And seeing that we have the 17.2 in the purpose sphere, and the quality of her consciousness, the quality of her being, her essence is going to be rooted in that farsightedness. And also I feel like if your posture and your spine, and it's about your core stability, I feel like it's really important that the foundation is built on something strong. So like, what are your values? What do you stand for? What is your opinion? And that is what's going to help you be natural in who you are, right? So we have the 17.2 in here, the 10.6 here, and I feel like she's rooted in her own like values and opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's important for you to discern what's right for you and not get so caught up in other people's opinions, because that's what's going to allow you to be yourself.
And I can see this because we were saying also today in the call before, the 6th line is a role model, the 10th gate is also the role model, is the behavior. So here we have a human being that comes a bit from the future, a 6th line personality or a 6th line life's work and evolution, and we also have a 6th line core wound or vocation. So there's a being that might come in here, and your behavior, the way that you naturally would behave, is like not really for this world yet. It's what's coming later. So it could, and that is the core wound of separation, like feeling I came to the wrong planet, or I came at the wrong time. So what I can see in this chart, seeing that you have the culture and the EQ that are both the 44. For me, what I can see for you, what can really save you, quote unquote, is that you want to have your core fractal around you. You don't want to compromise. You really want to make sure that these people these relationships come into your life. And it's both what you're going to do in the culture, in the big picture, and it's also that people are going to be really close to you and might, trigger you emotionally. But it's really to have that core fractal, or that soul fractal where beings are here to co-create with you. So I would say that's also a really good key for you to be like, when you're in the right place, it's going to be with the right people.
Yeah, I would also say that every relationship that you attract is for you, and don't feel like people are getting in the way of things, and don't judge your relationships. I want you to look at them as, this is perfect. Even though it's uncomfortable, it's perfect, because what this relationship is doing is it's teaching me how to foster respect for myself and for the other, and how to work as a team with my emotions too. Like, oh, I just got triggered emotionally. Let me see how I can work with this, instead of feeling like my emotions are getting in the way of this and you're projecting on me, right? Like what's happening there? And then we have the 44.1 in the culture sphere, and that's kind of like the people that you're attracting to you and who you will help and serve. So you're basically serving your core fractal line. And since we have that in the EQ as well, maybe what you're doing is, you're understanding and you're mastering the realm of emotions too. So how are you helping these people to come into competence and imagination and out of that separation, So, and I just also want to say that I think having the 43 and in the second line, like your mind is very quick and very smart, right? We have the insight and the epiphany, but it's also very it's hard to get around it too. Like if you formed an opinion or you formed something and it's very tightly formed, it's really hard for you to open your mind to something else too, because it's so quick, and it's going to stop you from feeling your emotions and working with your emotions, because the mind is trying to protect you. So it's going to be a little bit hard for you to get in there. And what's going to be beautiful is look at the mirror of your relationships, because those are what are going to give you access to those emotions and those things that maybe your mind is keeping you deaf to. So there's beautiful opportunity in your relationships.
And I would also say a last thing, because I have that one first gene key in my evolution. So don't push away depression. Like when the SQ is that first one, you probably are going to have to feel some states of entropy, some states of melancholy. But that's really a portal for you, because that can also show you things that are, a little bit hidden in your cell memories that want to come out and want to spark something new. So I would just say that as a last comment for this chart.
Yes. And here is someone else who we are familiar with, Jessa. Hey, Jessa. What's up, girl? Okay, so 17.1. So she's a 4-1 profile, 17 in the radiance, 18 in the purpose.
I mean, here, also because I feel like Jessa is she knows her chart, but I think we were mentioning last time in our membership group with her that we could see all these third lines. And it's almost a geometry. You have like 5 spheres in the middle with third lines. And that is a very interesting geometry. And it has this, we say that it's evasive, doesn't really want to be there, and it kind of likes to better like start a new white sheet. So I would say that's probably the biggest challenge, to be a 4-1 profile and to be very friendly, and to also, it's like what's on the inside is not really what's on the outside. That's what I can see, and I think I have to just reflect upon a little bit how you would manage that in your life, because it is interesting. I don't know if you have a thought or feeling more spontaneously about that, Ashley.
No, I just find it interesting that, like, let's avoid the mind, let's avoid the emotions, let's avoid the heart, let's avoid our core wound, let's avoid the people we're here to. It's like so much avoidance. And like we can also go so much and so deep into the head, the first line stuff, that allows us to not ever get into the body too, right?
And then if you look at this is also so interesting with this profile. If you look at the middle pillar, which is the pathway of individuation, you basically have almost all the lines. There is super very like
wow, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Yeah. Huh.
So it's I would say that again a little bit like last chart. It's like if you avoid if the chart we just looked at avoid that entropy in the SQ, then they're not really gonna they're not gonna get the most out of life. And here, like you were saying, Ashley, if you avoid those fears, then your life is going to be kind of black and white. Like it's going to be a rainbow with only 2 colors. So what I would say here is that it's actually to stay and to commit to those places, to wholeheartedly go into those places where it feels most uncomfortable.
Yeah, to like let go of judgment or the way things need to be or the opinion of who you should be or what you should believe. And then you just drop that and be like, everything's perfect right now. Right now it's perfect. And be like, okay, where am I feeling and where am I feeling a little bit off kilter too? Because, okay, can I go into the mind? What is it like in here? And then we have the 25. Can you open your heart and accept the place that you're at and not judge it or shame yourself for like being emotional, not being emotional, thinking a certain way, not thinking a certain way, like just dropping everything. I feel like what we're missing here is the 5th line too, right? We don't have that
right
at all. Nowhere. There's no 5th line stuff. So how can it be practical? How can we ground that? How can we make it practical and go there? And I don't know. There's something about that missing piece of the 5th line that I haven't quite epiphanized yet here, but I feel like it's something. Mm-hmm. And then we have the pearl that is trying to dominate. What is it trying to dominate? Are we trying to like let the mind dominate the emotions and the heart or what? Like what's happening here? And that's where we can find that we're not going to be experiencing balance. Mm-hmm. And then we're not going to be experiencing balance in our relationships, because you can also look at your relationships as the mirror for what's going on the inside. And so, I mean, that's just what I'm picking up on.
And there's something, yeah, I agree completely. There's something that's coming through now with the core wound, because I know that Jessa was asking us about that. And she's like, I don't really identify with shame, she said. But what I can feel now in the chart, having that 17-1 in your radiance, which is about your health, and it's about, you know, your opinions, your farsightedness. So I would say, don't let anybody wrong you. Like if you have been part of a community and you need to leave that, and some people think that it's wrong, you know, it's like, don't let anybody wrong you. For a 3rd line, there are no mistakes. You're going to be somewhere, you're going to leave there. So as long as you're not escaping or avoiding, it's right for you to have an experience and then have another, and don't let people wrong you. That's so important. And I feel like that's where the 5th line that you're saying actually is going to come out. When you don't let people wrong you, not even on like, you know, how you feel on the inside, then a lot of things can unlock. And I think that's the 3rd line in there. Like live each of these spheres fully and don't let anybody wrong you. Don't be afraid to go there, and know that you can't make any mistakes in the 3rd line. It's going to be experiences, and that's what it's for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. There's one more thing to say about the 10.4 being in the evolution. And I know that allowing her fullest expression, like, do you know who you are at your core, or have you always constructed and shaped yourself for the other because of the deep shame and never wanting to go there to experience that shame, because it's almost like, here's the shame of myself. Like I can't be myself because right now I'm so focused on love and community that I can't show up completely as myself because then I would wrong my community. They don't want me to be like this. They want me to be something else. We're missing the fifth line. So like we have that projection, we have those shoulds, but I feel like still, when you feel so deeply for supporting and loving your community, you're going to show up for however you need to show up for them. And now it's kind of this exploration of like, can you play with and experience yourself in all these different ways and allow yourself to be expressed fully there? And then it's almost like the acceptance is more about the acceptance of yourself. Like you have no problem accepting other people, but can you accept yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was Jessa. And this is Anil. And she has it where? The SQ. It's kind of a little bit blurry, but.
Well, again, we're into that first line about certainty. And it's about a certainty that doesn't come from control, that doesn't come from the outside, it's from the inner. So it's that kitten that needs to lay next to the mother and feel the heartbeat. So really, when it's in the first line in the SQ, it is to give yourself that rhythm and that warmth and that security that you didn't have as a child. And it's not something that you can have like by buying things, it's not something you can create from the outside. It's an inner sense. And I would say when you have a first line in your SQ, there are probably things that are deep, deep, deep into the bones, into the cell memories. And what I see for that is often like we need to use the body, we need body work, we need breath work, we need to actually really kind of go in the physical part of that very deep, like you were saying before, actually hidden part of ourselves. So that's, without looking anywhere else, that what I would say, and also being a 1-3, it is about depth somehow.
And empowerment. Not receive as a child that you're now going to give to yourself. And like we have the core wound in the first line too. So like you said, like getting to the depths of things, like what is repressed, what is beneath the surface, what is like in the bones, and how can you give that to yourself? Because here in the first line we have certainty, we also have fear, we also have the root chakra, we also have what else? The soil, like the aloneness. Like, can you empower yourself? And what else? Yeah.
I mean, that EQ too. I know you did this last week, Ashley, something by saying, I don't know what happened in your childhood, but in that so if the 17.1 is 0 to 7 years old, and then the EQ, the 48.6
Wow.
is 8 to 15, and there is something there, like there is a feeling of inadequacy. It feels like something happened that made you feel, okay, it's no point, like throw the towel. You kind of became absent because something made you feel there was no point, and that you were, and probably had to do with inadequacy, that you were wronged some way, and maybe that like kind of fueled you back to the core wound to say there's no purpose. What's the purpose? Let me just throw the towel. And then all that feelings are embedded in your SQ. So I would say that there's something here that has to do with inner child work, that has to review what happened in that period of when you started school, whatever I think you know what it is. And that encapsulated you into a kind of immaturity, especially emotional immaturity, where you stay in the objective. I know the 6th line because I'm there, and to kind of just stay there in the safe place of the 6th line IQ, be objective, but never go into the feelings and really allow them to nurture your life, and the body, and really allow that to nurture your life. And that would make you bypass the purpose in your vocation. So we really want you to kind of, I would say, the Venus sequence when I see this profile, because that's when you are going to reclaim your power, and you're going to be able to live that pearl out and have an enriched life and be an enriching voice for others. And I think in this profile for me, the Venus sequence really is so key for being able to step into that essence of that role.
Oh, I love it. The 48 is actually the what Richard identifies the EQ as. So we have the 48 is what is it? I can't find the word, but like that is the sphere of the EQ. Like when Richard talks about the EQ, that's what programs it, is the 48. So we're here to be resourceful in our emotions. So I kind of feel I want to play a little bit. So I want to paint a picture of what life would look like for somebody that was treated, that wasn't parented by a parent, that was parented by a wounded parent. and then may have had traumas that occurred in their life. And then I want to paint another picture of, if this were a child, how would you parent this child? And how would it show up? So like, if the vocation is birth, right? Birth, like it's basically the whole gestation of birth. So purposelessness, totality, immortality. So what's the purpose of this? Who knows what the mom was going through when she was pregnant, and like the whole wounding that she was experiencing. So if she didn't know who she was or what her purpose was, if she was in this deep, dark depression of, I don't know if I want to be a mom, but I am being a mom, and what's the point of this? What's the purpose of this? And then having also expectations of like what this child is going to be for you, or open up for you. Then we move into the SQ, where you're going to have all these opinions about who this child should be. And if they're not feeling like they're being taken in by that parent, they're going to be deeply like wounded by that parent, because they're kind of like, here's who I want you to be. And then we move into the emotional realm. And the emotional realm is kind of like, she's going to feel inadequate because she has all these opinions being pushed on her as well. And then not feeling resourceful, not even being able to dive into the emotions. And if we do not have emotional competency, we never grow up. And so it's interesting that we have the IQ of 53.6, because that is the immaturity. So like, when we don't feel emotionally resourceful, we stay kind of this eternal child. And it's not like a playful eternal child. It's like, we just don't grow up. We're not adults. And what is going to be able to take us back through this sequence is in our relationships, when we can start to tap into our intuition. So it's in the trial and error of relationships that we can begin to tap back into that intuition. And the 57 is actually what programs the vocation. So it's like, can you go back to the wounding that you experienced in the womb? Can you go to the wound of the womb, right? And when you can start to listen to that intuition, you can come into the IQ and rectify whatever's going on with that immaturity, come into that expansion, go into the EQ, find some resources to help you feel adequate enough to deal with the emotions, and then come in and look at things from a bigger picture, right? And have that farsightedness, so that you can know, what does it mean to like live from your heart and be in your heart. And then you'll come into that purpose and that totality of that immortal soul, that immortal heart that never dies. It just keeps beating. And so that's kind of what I'm feeling with that. So how would you parent this child? I love that Bella was saying, like, the first line, like, bring that in, like, come into that heartbeat, and like I don't know. I just really resonated with that first line and the security and bringing it in. So it's like, that person needs to like not have opinions like pushed on it either. It's like, can you just be everything for that person, not judge it, because the program partner here is judgment too. And then how can you help the child feel resourceful in their emotions? I don't know if they have a defined emotional center or not. How can you deal with your emotions? And then moving into that expansion and superabundance of the mind. There's like so much potential in the 6th line mind, because it just keeps transcending the other level, right? It's like, okay, I learned this, and now I'm going to expand into this and expand into this and expand into this. But if you're constantly in that immaturity, then we're not actually expanding. We're like keeping ourselves, I don't know, even separating. And we have a lot of 6th line here, like separating from the mind, separating from the emotions.
And it's so sophisticated. It can be a sophisticated way of masking your own wounds, because you have that objective mind. So on the outside, it looks like it's fine, but on the inside, you don't have those parts of you, the mental, the emotional, the physical, and the spiritual, that are playing together. No, it's just a mind, but there's like hollow. There's nothing inside, because everything is inside is like, you don't want to feel it. So that's why this journey that you just made, actually, it's so important, and it's so good to be able to see that there is a journey. And if you have the courage to take that journey, these are then the genius unlocks, and all these parts of us become play friends, and
yeah. And I won't say anything else about this shirt, because we're taking a lot of time doing this. I just love being able to look and see the journey that could or could not have happened. And again, this is just my opinion, because I don't know this person. I'm just kind of intuiting what's happening here. And pulling your kids' charts and being like, what do they need from me? Like, if you have kids that are under the age of 7, how can you help them stay in their heart, right? How can you help them be be in their naturalness and not shut them down with your own opinions, your own judgments, this is who you need to be. It's, can you accept them for who they are and let them come into their wholeness, or come into their fullest expression, and remind them of their wholeness, and remind them like you're not wounded, and you're this eternal being, and actually you're the same age as me, soul wise. Just because you are in a child body does not mean I treat you like a child, or like an immature, like the immaturity, like, oh, I need to take care of you and this and that. So anyways, that's just what I wanted to share about that. Okay. Oh, wait. The 16 and the 9. Did we just look? Yeah, 16, 9.
No, wait.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
But it's like inverted. This is a different cross, though. So where's the 17? In the attraction sphere. That's interesting.
Well, this is the sexuality of the future. So this is somebody who probably, because if we go right there to where the 17 is, so this is somebody who probably got disappointed in the beginning of life, because the 6th line is always going to have that first part of life where it's trial and error. So it's not, you're going to have like even opinions, or we could say more beautifully, the farsightedness of what that union between two people can be. And knowing that it's like imprinted in you, you can feel it, you can see it, you can see everything actually with omniscience of the 17. And then you come into life as a 3rd line, because all the 6 lines are a 3rd line of trial and error in the beginning, and you're going to have those experiences. And they are probably going to push you into some kind of disappointment and some kind of feeling what my knowing is not real. And that can be really hard for that 17 that once is in the Ajna center, it wants to be certain, but you can't, it's like everything is proving you wrong. And that can make you disembody and not wanting to be, not only, it's not only not wanting to be in your body, but not wanting to be in your root center, not wanting to be in your sexuality, not wanting to be in your life force. And you could live a whole life reproducing that disappointment throughout your relationships. And as a 6-2, you will compromise. The biggest challenge, you will fall in there all the time to compromise, because you don't think it's possible, because everything showed you in the beginning of your life it wasn't possible. So here in the 6th line, it's really to actually start having experiences again, start adding experiences that are going to show you that perfection of life, that integrity. The 18 is a program partner. Step by step, you can create that perfection. You can actually come back to innocence. You can let go of what your mind thought was mistakes and have a farsightedness that was necessary to become a role model for what it is to be a human being with life force that is interacting in sacred marriage with another human being on this earth in this lifetime, going into the future together. So like for me, this is a big quest almost, when you have this 17-6 here, like for intimate sexuality transparency in that realm, and as a 6-2 profile too. And for you, again, it's important for you to not merge with anybody. Like you are here to dance with people that can merge at your level, and you want to merge with people in order for you to really feel your full potential. You want to be able to merge on a physical level, or with the animal body, on a heart level, and also on feeling the creator energy, the creativity of that life force being shared with another person. So it's really merging through all the chakras, basically.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And to piggyback off of like the sexuality of the future, I feel like if we can look at this whole pathway of individuation through the lens of sexuality, when you have those opinions because I think that the opinions as a 6 line are formed from the sexuality of the future, right? And all of what that entails. And so when you're not experiencing it here, it's kind of confusing. You're like, I'm not receiving it. It doesn't like click, like what's happening here? So there's a lot of that trial and error in the beginning. And then you go on the roof and you start observing. You're like, okay, what is it that I do want? And that dream starts to come alive too. And you start to figure out through playfulness too, through that innocence. But you can also experience like discord with another and dislocation. Like I feel like the whole purpose of this is to come into imagination of what's possible, so that you can come into discernment, empathy, orientation, and unity with the other, so that you can be extremely versatile and mastered in this realm of sexuality, right? And not to say that, yes, you're going, like, your purpose is to be in the realm of sexuality. We're just commenting on the fact that you have a 6 line attraction sphere. I have a 6-line attraction sphere. Bella has a 6-line attraction sphere. That doesn't mean we're going to be sex experts or sex coaches. It's like that, not the thing. But
we're going to be creative beings that want to live fully, probably. You know,
it's not just about sex. Like, so don't just like automatically feel like there's so much more to our life force than that sexuality. That sexual energy is our life force energy, and it's about expressing that in the world. And I love that Bella was saying, like, don't compromise by you're going to be deeply disappointed when you're merged with somebody who's not at the level, like she was saying.
Yeah. And like the last word for this is like the worst thing you can do is to fall into indifference. That's 16. Like you're like, okay, you're disappointed, you're compromising, and you live your life at a kind of like, you know, cold, dead level. That would be the worst thing. So that's just like always versatility, always coming in. Like you're here to be a master. So then, you know, honor that in yourself.
Yeah. There we go. I love it. Okay, moving on. Cedric, let's see. 17 life's work.
A 4-1 again. That's a very unusual profile, and we had Jess already. That's cool.
14 twice. We were just speaking of compromise in the last one. 14 and 38 twice. So let's see how this weaves together with the 17.
I mean, compromise would be a word here too, especially in the Venus sequence, because we have that 14-6 and the 14-4. So here too, as a for a fourth line, life's work and evolution, you're here to do what you love. You're here to serve yourself first. You're here to play with people that you love. It's community. It's community and kinship. So I would say very important for you, both in your outer life and your close relationship, to feel like you're sharing your heart, you're sharing your competence, you are with people that can see your farsightedness, they can see your integrity, and that can actually they nurture you, so that you can, again, they have the 38 and the 39 in the purpose and the radiance, so that you can choose your battles, so that you can go like deep into what is worth, what has a purpose for you, and that also these people that you are with allow you, so that they are not needy people that make you kind of just concentrate on them and serve them, but really you also need to have solitude. You also need to go deep in the things that you care about and that are your fights in this life. So I would say there's some kind of that, like being with others, being by yourself, being supported by others, so that you can do what you love, so that you can be recognized for who you're here to. You have the 38 also in the Pearl. So Radiance and Pearl, it is about you're a warrior for some, you're a love warrior. So, and you want to be recognized for that. And then you need times by yourself and time with others. And that feels like it's going to be one of these things that are going to maybe be clearer and clearer in your life, how to make that happen.
Mm-hmm. There's something too, as soon as I opened this profile, my like heart started hurting, and I feel like have patience with yourself and with the love that you have inside of you. Don't compromise your heart for the other. And I feel like that could happen, is we're going to compromise our heart for our community, for our family, for the people we love, and we're going to fight for those people too. But it's also fight for your own heart, and like get to know it, and give yourself the time and the space to like come within yourself and to commune with that love within you. And there's something to be said too. Like, I mean, the 4-1, I feel like the 4 is always concerned with family and the community. Like, they like their people. So with the vocation, it's you have a 5th line core wound, and it's like this one is about tradition and what's carried on through the lineage. And so you're going to need to look at the mirror of your relationships and the people that you surround yourself with, because your family and your bloodline, they're the ones that are like bringing you're carrying on that tradition. And so where does that guilt show up in there, and how does that compromise your heart? Mm-hmm. Right? When you're carrying on something that is not in resonance with what your heart is or who you are, you're just doing it because it's tradition and it's family and it's opinion. Like, you can get so caught up in religion and like let's be this type of person, and here's this opinion, and like this is what my life is about, and this is my belief on things, right? Because we have opinion and we have beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both in the fourth line, which is love, community, family. So like, how has your family shaped your own beliefs and your own opinions? And is that what you're carrying on? Or do you believe something different than your family, and you're compromising who you are because you're like, it's not true for you, and you've already discovered that it's not true for me, but there's so much judgment and rejection in my family that I can't tell them that I have a different view. So I'm going to compromise my heart all the time because I love my family. This could be true or this could not be true, but like, this is a story that could unfold with this profile.
And a lot of forgiveness over and over again with that fifth line vocation, both yourself and others. And you are the 38 is also individual circuitry. So you're here to be recognized for your own individuality. So knowing that that's your essence might also make you not compromise and actually be yourself, because that's what you ultimately are going to be recognized for.
Mm-hmm. Again, I want to just weave a story here. I don't know. I'm feeling like very storytellery. I don't know why. But if we have the purpose here in the 39, and that one's like creative, and we have the first line, I feel like you're like doing a lot of groundwork, and maybe you're excavating and pulling out the weeds. Like, here's what I don't believe, and here's what I'm not going to carry on, and this all stuff. So you're working with your foundation. You're working with your soil, and you're making room and space for your heart to expand and grow. So what does it mean to be competent and bounteous in your love? And how do you share that garden with others? Because if your family's been planting, like, what is it? Carrots for like eons, and you're like, I don't want to plant carrots. I want to plant rhubarb because I want to make rhubarb. This is so weird, rhubarb pie. And so you're like, okay, we're not going to plant carrots. I'm going to plant rhubarb, and that's what I'm going to share with my family. Yeah, they're carrot farmers. Who cares? I want to give them some pie, right? Because that's at my heart. I want to feed them, and I don't know. And so that's the struggle here, is like we're having that dissonance with the other, because I am a champion of rhubarb and they are the champions of carrots. So we don't see eye to eye on opinion. But I mean, you could shift things in your family by just showing up as you. Plant your own, or work with your own soil and plant what you want to plant, and share that, because you're a server. You want to care for and serve the other, your family, your community. Anyways, that's what I wanted to share about that. And have patience. Tend your garden. Have patience. Tend your heart. Have patience.
Actually, should we do like one more, because we have an hour? Or how do you feel? I think an hour is enough.
I do too. We're not going to get to everybody, but let me see what we.
You're going to get more chances, because you don't only have one key, so you're going to be able to post it again.
Let me see. I want to look at something unique. Attraction sphere. Where is this one? IQ. Let's do this one. 17.3 in the core, in the vocation.
This is like weird. It's like, I don't know, I feel dizzy.
Because it's smushed. I can't stretch it out either. That's just how they shared it, is they smushed.
Well, this is the cross of tension. So, it's normal that it doesn't get smashed.
It's normal to be smashed and squished by these people.
Well, 4-6, do what you love and have a community around you that you can look in the same direction as, and so that your vision is nurtured. That's super important. And that's when you're going to be able to be the warrior of the future, the warrior that is a role model and are going to fight for the things that are going to work in the future. And that's inherent in your intelligence. It's your radiance, it's your purpose. You're a role model for that, and you know those fights. And your core stability comes from taking that flag and from being surrounded with people that can go side by side with you on that. That's like, and there's going to be tension. There's going to be tension, but you can see. It's not that you can see the future, because the future is it's the imprinting of your radiance and your purpose. You can feel the future, and when you're grounded, that intent in you is going to take you the right steps as that warrior of the future, of love, of objectivity, of not getting bogged down by the small things.
Mm-hmm.
And how does that correlate to the core wound, right? That's the big question here. I feel, how could a core wound or the vocation either help you in that quest or prevent you from doing this? And here we were saying before, shame is the key word, but it can also be this thing of like, being wronged. And of course, when you have the cross of tension, you're going to be wronged. People are going to feel like you should serve something else because people don't feel the future. Like, why would you serve something that's not here yet? So there is something with you being wronged or you being shamed, maybe for your perspective, because that is the 17th opinion. So I would say, how can you know that your perspective is unique and come from the future and not allow anybody to wrong you for that?
Yes. I don't have anything else to add.
I mean, you're just a pearl. You're here to bring vitality to the world by coming from your heart. That's your essence. So when you allow this quest to come through you, and when you're surrounded by the right people, then like the essence of your life is to share. Like, you're going to create vitality. And you are an idealist with that 11-1 in your culture. Your ideals are not like what everybody's going to understand. They are very unique. They're very individual, but you are a being of the future. So when you believe in that, when you don't fall into feeling inadequate, when you can know that you have that flag and you're walking that marsh, then, you keep walking. And then I feel like your life is going to unfold.
I love that. There's so much strength in these like cross of tension, and I feel like we've seen a lot of people with the 38, and why wouldn't we? Because to have an opinion that might not be an opinion or an ideal that might not be readily accepted, you kind of have to have perseverance because you're fighting that good fight, and that ability to tap into, is that fight worth it, and going there and having perseverance. Like, this is the mountain I'm climbing, and this I'm going to, like, it's like you have your freak flag and you're flying it, and you're like, I'm going to climb this mountain. I'm going to stick this flag on the top of this mountain for all to see, because I'm proud of that, and instead of feeling like shame for that, you're like proud of it.
Yeah. And
yeah.
The fourth lines, right? It is so much about love and the right people around the community, where you can feel people's heart. If you can feel people's heart, if they can feel your heart, if you are also brave enough to share your heart, I feel like you're going to have the support for that fight, that agenda that you have. That is a pure agenda that comes from an intent that is a role model. So it's so important for you, even for some of these things that might be there in your Venus sequence, to be open. If you close your heart, you can get stuck. But if that heart, even when it's uncomfortable, if you can open that heart, that is going to lead you. That's going to lead you both, deep and wide at the same time.
Mm-hmm. So that was Christina, and that's all kind of that we have time for right now. But there will be other opportunities. This week we're moving into 21. So look for the post in our groups inviting you to share your profile, and again, include the lines, because we will be diving into the Illuminated archetype of the 21st. So, and this one is who we call the manager, and you'll learn more about it in a couple days when we open door 21 on our 64 doors project. So thank you so much for joining us, and I appreciate all you guys who came live and are watching the replay, and I hope that we are able to get to know you through interpreting your chart and kind of illuminating the archetype within you, because this has been super fun for me and Bella. I love doing it, and I love that you're here watching this and learning, and I hope that you have your own wisdom and insights to share of, what it's like to live that archetype in your life. So if you do have some examples or resonate with something, we'd love to hear it in the comments. So definitely post that for us, because we enjoy that. That would just like tickle us. So we invite you to do that. And we will see you again this coming week. So look for us and our lives. And if you feel like you want to reach out to me and Bella, we can do longer chart interpretations. And if you're wanting to do that, you can reach out and dive into that with us. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your night, and namaste.